Day.
Right.
And in the true sense of a father, I had to make the necessary moves to get things for my sons to be here with me. So both my wife and I realized that our two sons needed their passports renewed. So we went to New Orleans. It's funny that we actually having a New Orleans style, Louisiana style meal.
Yeah.
Because while we were there on Thursday, we went to a seafood restaurant called Fiery Crab. And it's been a while since I've had a seafood boil, which is they have corn, potatoes, sausages, mussels, clams, shrimp,
And they
crab,
just threw it
and they
out.
have everything in one big plate.
Right.
Put it in a bag, and you get to choose the type of seasoning that you want. So
Right.
there's a Cajun seasoning, there's a lemon butter seasoning, there's garlic seasoning, and then there's like a combination of the three.
Wow.
So people generally tend to believe that seafood is always healthy, but it depends on the style that you do it, because there's the fried seafood as well, fried seafood platter that's common in all of the seafood restaurants in Louisiana as well. So there's that boil that I just mentioned. There's a seafood platter that would have like fried catfish, fried shrimp, fried hush puppies, fried, so all of that fried stuff is not necessarily a healthy version of it. But this is definitely a very, very healthy meal, and something that during my running days I would have eaten a lot.
So now that you have more or less hunger spikes, you consider yourself a foodie, you consider yourself wanting to try different things, because I know during your athletic days, you're about to say, all right, none of that today.
Definitely. So cookies would fall in there.
You're a cookies man.
Yeah, so I'll be on the couch watching TV and eating those Biscoff cookies. But I've discovered something in my retired days, that the Biscoff cookies that they give you on the plane,
Yeah.
right? So there's that, but there's a cream-filled one with the vanilla cream-filled, and that is something that I love. So all of the little, junk food and so on that I didn't get to eat while I was running, because I had to stay disciplined, I get to try.
You're piling it up. You're piling it up now. Yeah. You're piling it up now.
Meat and all of that too.
Let's talk fatherhood, because you brought fatherhood. I was going to talk sport first, but let's talk fatherhood. As I said, Richard, I remember back on TV6 days, I think you won the very first, what we called it back then, boy. It was the sportsman. We did our own sportsman, People's Choice Sportsman of the Year, and you won that first year that we brought that out. And as I said, started to follow you and interviewed you over the years, saw you from basically a young man. And when I checked us over the years, Richard now is a father of two boys. Tell me that transition, because I've been being involved as a professional athlete and then having to adjust your mind, one, to being a husband to Monique, and then all of a sudden being a father to two boys, Ryan and Reese.
Right. So as a professional athlete, I would say any top athlete at any level, there's an element of selfishness that comes with being great. And you speak to any athlete who has done very well, they will tell you that things center around their training and their competition, from the way that you eat to the way that you're able to go out and interact with friends and so on. So for me, even in my school days at LSU, some of my roommates used to go out and party on a Friday night. I had practice at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, running hills and then lifting weights. So you don't always get to do the things that you want to, or the people around you want you to do. And my wife Monique has understood that, because she was an athlete.
She was an athlete as well.
At LSU. That's actually how we became very good friends. That led into us being married. But the next step to that, obviously, was us having kids. And when we had our first son, Reese, that sort of sped up my maturity in a sense, because it was no longer just about me and my track and field and doing everything that centered around me and achieving those goals. But now I also had to consider I am responsible for another human being as well, and it's not that I was selfish in the sense that Monica and I didn't get to do things that we enjoyed as well, but there was a priority that took place with this is number one, this is number two. Track and field is number one, and everything else is number two. When Reese was born, he's number one. And the way that we both adjusted our lifestyle to suit that was something that made me realize that you have a greater appreciation for your parents too, because of the sacrifices that they made to ensure that you had things. I remember growing up in the days where my dad worked 2 jobs. During the day, he would work in his pharmacy, and at night time, he would go to Phillips Pharmacy in St. James to work. My mom was a verbatim reporter in the industrial court, and she would do side jobs as well as a pallet typist to ensure that we had the things that, not necessarily that we wanted, but that we had the things that we needed, and we take those things for granted sometimes. Like, we always had clothes on our backs, we always had food on our table, we always had a roof over our heads, the basic necessities. Now, we didn't, we weren't the family that took family vacations everywhere and so on. We weren't necessarily in a position to afford to do that at the time. And when I look back now, in hindsight, you have a greater appreciation for mothers, for fathers, and the sacrifices that they make to ensure that you have the things you need. And people can tell you, but it's when you actually live it, that's when you truly understand those sacrifices that you make. And my kids just bring me great joy. Apart from actually trying to do things for them, but the time that I actually share with them, seeing them grow up, seeing them take their first steps to be able to play football and basketball and so on.
They had to be in track.
Not yet.
Come on.
I eventually.
So Monique and you didn't get a track genes through?
I'll say that they're fast, right? But they're using that speed for football and soccer, different sports. And I think at this age, it's important to diversify what they do.
You've lived in the States, as I said, more or less the entire adult life, from a young man into adult life. But I know you come back home. I think more outside of the pandemic, I suppose you would have come back home every year for Carnival. You're a Carnival baby.
I am a Carnival baby, and I think that that was one of my weaknesses as an athlete.
Right. I know we're going to wipe out the weakness, but right. That would have been pressure.
It is in the middle of.
Oh my God.
But not necessarily the middle of the track season.
Yeah.
But it was at the start of the outdoor season starts in April, where you start getting your warm-up meets and so on. Track and Carnival is always in February, maybe sometimes early March. And when I hear the music, Marshall is my favorite artist of all time. I love Bunji Garlin too, from ever since I was small and we in primary school. And people would say, around those times, it was very cool to say that dancehall is your favorite. If you like Beanie, and if you're a rap man, you like Wu-Tang or Rough Riders. If you're a conscious man, you like Capleton or Sizzler. For me, soca was always my thing. Marshall was my favorite artist since I was a little boy. And to see what soca has become now and the big business that Carnival in itself has become to garnering more of a global presence is something that warms my heart. I'm a Trinity to my heart.
Two quick stories. During my journalistic days as a sports reporter and so on, and I would be interviewing yourself and back in my interviewing still John and Russell Latapy and thing, and them fellas can't come back home for Carnival, and I used to party for you. Because I remember asking food. I would have party for you, all I see them fellas can't come back.
And then like you had a block from social media. You seeing all these stories and the videos and they tagging you. No, take a block.
The other big story is that I remember, I think I either read it, Richard, and I said, wow, that's literally me. I either read it or heard it in an interview, you said it. You said when you hear a song, or you fall in love with a song, you would play it over and over. And that's me,
Serious?
Yeah. So I would play one song over and over. If a song hook me, especially a soca, that song on repeat. That song on repeat. Fatherhood end of the career, you were at a satisfied place when you decided, hey, for Olympics, I've had enough. I've done my bit, and you were happy.
Yes.
No regrets.
No regrets at all. And I think it was important as well for my kids to see me in that element because they were old enough to understand in my last year of competition. And what it meant is they saw my routine, they saw my discipline because I was also in school doing a master's in sport management. And I would go to training in the morning, come back home in the afternoon, take a shower, eat something. They're home by that time, and they would see me go to the table, do some work, take some time off, come and play some video games with them, or go out in the yard and throw the ball with them, and then go back to the table and do work again. You know, so it was important for them to see how disciplined somebody has to be in order to achieve the goals that they want, because sometimes the message doesn't always have to be verbally said. You know, sometimes it could just be implicit actions that they see around them.
Actions speak louder than words.
And yes, one thing to tell them, go and do your work. Go and do. But when they see you actually do it, it's not saying. Some kids would look at their parents and say, or question, but they didn't used to do this in their time, or they didn't. When they actually see me doing it, I think, you know, that is something that's important. So when I tell Reese, go to the table and do your work, he knows that I actually led by example. He saw that it was important for me to do that, to do as well as I did in school and in training. So,
excellent. Rich, we continuing to celebrate you. I want to just say it was a pleasure covering you, following your career. It was one of the joys of my career in terms of following you, being able to know you personally, get to know you personally, see your challenges, see you overcome the challenges. I didn't get to see you beat Usain Bolt like this. I wanted to see you beat Usain Bolt.
I took a gold medal away from him recently. You know?
We talk about that when we come back. He take a gold medal away from Bolt. We toast to Richard Thompson when we come back. Cheers to dads and cheers to